tonight is Teresia Washira, and these are the highlights.
It is just a question of somebody taking up a problem and finding a solution to the problem instead of saying fanya hivi ndio mtu apate njia yake ya kupata pesa zake ndogo ndogo hapo.
President Kenyatta warns politicians against politicizing the new Nairobi rail commuter services.
The position of deputy ministers should be introduced and they should be picked from parliament.
Raila Odinga rules out amendments of the BBI report as governors demand strengthening of the Senate. And Harambee Stars set to play Comoros in their AFCON qualifiers tomorrow.
All right, and welcome to the broadcast. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube channel as Switch TV News. Welcome. President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged public servants to focus on serving Kenyans and avoid creating unnecessary bottlenecks that slow down service delivery in the country. Speaking today in Nairobi County, where he commissioned the Kenya Railway Transit Shed and Container Freight Station, the president has reiterated that public servants are appointed to give service and not to be served, as Nyakundi Kelvin is telling us.
Speaking while opening the cargo transit shed linking the Embakasi Inland Container Depot to other counties, the president has said politicians should stop incitement.
Na kwangu na kwa wenzangu ambao tuko ndani ya serikali, jukumu letu ni kusikiza wananchi wetu na kutatua shida zao, sio kuwaongezea shida. Hiyo ndio jukumu yetu. As government, we are supposed to be facilitators to enable our people to carry out their businesses and their day-to-day life and make their life easier, not to complicate their lives.
According to the president, leaders ought to find solutions to problems and not finding ways of trying to embezzle public funds.
It is just a question of somebody taking up a problem and finding a solution to the problem instead of saying fanya hivi ndio mtu apate njia yake ya kupata pesa zake ndogo ndogo hapo. We must reform the way we give and provide services to all our people.
The president also directed NMS boss body to ensure that he puts CCTV cameras at the railway station to monitor, saying he will be monitoring the processes to avoid corrupt individuals.
Nairobi Metropolitan Services is almost finishing the construction of the Green Park terminus, where all matatus currently operating at the Central Railway Station will be transferred to.
Traders were worried that their businesses would be demolished to pave way for the revamped railway system. The president has assured them that the government will find alternatives for the affected traders.
And now it's a relief for Nairobi residents after President Uhuru Kenyatta launched the Nairobi Rail Commuter Service that aims at easing vehicle and human traffic in the city. The 10 new stations are set to serve up to 230 passengers daily. Hadia Masiwa with the story.
The commuter rail service that comprises of new diesel mobile units and commuter rail buses is touted as a way to enable passengers to save both time and money and at the same time enjoy the much-needed comfort on their way to and from the city center.
Indeed, our investment in integrated mass transit is informed by the various transport challenges that our citizens continue to face in urban areas. Indeed, it is estimated that the value of time lost to travel in Nairobi, as an example, is between 80 million and 400 million shillings per month, with congestion costing the country about 50 million shillings daily.
While launching the new rail service, President Uhuru Kenyatta has emphasized on the importance of cargo transit shed, saying it is a big boost to small traders through the project that will enable the country to collect revenue of approximately 1 billion shillings.
Sasa container ambaye ni consolidated itakuwa inakuja mpaka hapa. KRA inaletwa hapa na Kenya Railways. KRA wanaifungua hiyo container hapa. Mizigo inatolewa, inawekwa kwa shed, kila mtu na mizigo yake. We ukuje ulipe kodi yako, uchukue mizigo yako, uendelee na biashara yako.
Apart from this new service facilitating easy access of goods and subsequently reduce the cost of doing business for small traders in Nairobi and its surroundings, it is an effort to cut off traffic jam that potentially cost Kenya almost $1 billion a year in lost productivity. Hadia Wasiwa for Switch TV.
Thank you, Hadia. Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga has stated that there is significantly little chances of making changes in the BBI document ahead of next year's referendum. Raila, who has joined President Uhuru Kenyatta in Naivasha, where they are expected to officially open the two-day governors' conference, was responding to governors who have made several demands regarding the document. Majibu Kitsao has the details.
In what seemed to be a direct response to governors, ODM leader Raila Odinga posted in his Twitter handle, and I quote, "There is significantly little chance of significant new ideas being brought into the BBI document ahead of the referendum, except for editorial work to make it explicit on demands by various groups where it sounds vague or general, as is the case with the issues of pastoralists." End of quote. In another tweet, the former Prime Minister said, and I quote, "It is basically done and there is little likelihood that new ideas will be pushed into it. However, there are groups that feel their views were not captured in the manner they were presented during the collection of views, and those are the corrections that we are promising to make." End of quote. Among the issues raised are those of the position of deputy governors to be introduced in the document.
The position of deputy ministers should be introduced and they should be picked from Parliament.
On the issue of disbursement of funds, the governors recommended that the disbursement schedule to be submitted to the Central Bank of Kenya for implementation within 14 days.
On disbursement of funds, we have the following to say. One, that in order to ensure timely release of funds to be disbursed to counties, the disbursement schedule, as prescribed by legislation, should be submitted to the Central Bank of Kenya by the Speaker of the Senate for implementation within 14 days.
In addition, on the issue of county government budgets, the governors had the following to put across.
County governments should ensure that not less than 10% of their total budget is allocated to agriculture, livestock, and fisheries function.
The question still stands on whether the governor's recommendations are going to be implemented. Majibu Kitsao, Switch TV, Nairobi.
And now, out of that particular story, I'm asking, is there enough time to make changes to the BBI report? Is there enough time to make changes to the BBI report? Talk to me via SMS line. That is on 111 444 111 444 111. And moving on, a section of leaders drawn from various groups in Kirinyaga County have resolved to support the BBI proposals led by Kirinyaga County KANU Chairperson John Gadungu. The leaders have proposed that the BBI sensitization program be led by elected leaders from the county and not leaders appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta or Raila Odinga. There have been reports that some government officials have been leading the meetings.
Viongozi wote wamechaguliwa na wananchi, tuwarete pamoja, waongee kitu kimoja, waongee kwa amani, and we are supporting BBI. We are supporting it free. As women, we are supporting it.
Wasunge Kirinyaga iko na wenyewe na tunasapoti serikali, wasije wakakuja hapa kuharibia network ya Uhuru hapa.
Na wale wanaona kama iko na tashwishi kidogo, wakuje tukae tufanye kikao ndio tujue mahali iko na shida. Ikishapita itarekebishwa baadaye.
Mtu yule ameandikwa kwa ofisi, asiwe ndiye anakuja kufanya gavana wetu kama si mtu. Amheshimu. Sasa ukiitisha kiti.
Now to COVID-19 matters, where Kenya has today recorded 24 deaths from COVID-19, the highest single-day toll since March, when the virus was confirmed in the country, as 1,344 people have tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours. According to the Ministry of Health, The infections in the country have risen to 64,588, with a total of 1,266 patients admitted in various hospitals countrywide, while 5,898 are on home-based isolation and care. The highest number of cases were confirmed in Nairobi at 322, followed by Kiambu, which recorded 221, and Mombasa 133. Globally, the infections have hit 50.9 million, with 1.26 million deaths, even as vaccine jointly developed by Pfizer and Biotech was declared 90% effective in the prevention of COVID-19 infection in ongoing phase 3 trials. Now, moving on, with a fine of up to 20,000 shillings set in place intending to push Kenyans to abide by the guidelines set by the government to put the virus at bay, it would be expected that Kenyans would all be masked up. But as our spot check at Kenya's capital reveals, it would take more than just a hefty fine for Kenyans to mask up. David Kagina now reports.
The COVID curve is on a constant sharp rise in the country. There are lots of concern from the health workers who cannot imagine the nightmare should hospitals be overwhelmed by patients with complications developed from COVID-19. However, these concerns remain on paper. Down in the streets, as they say, kwa ground, things are different. Everyone here has a mask, some properly put on, covering the mouth and the nose. And on the other end, there's a good number who have pulled them to the chin. One would think they're doing it for formality and maybe to avoid police arrests. But these ones, standing not so far off from these law enforcers, appear unperturbed. Life is moving on as usual.
Sasa ninaona kila mtu kweli anavaa mask, lakini hawavai mask vizuri. Kama umeamua kuvaa mask, ni afadhali uvae mask the right way. Sio kama unavaa mask, unarudi unaiweka hapa hivi. Mask ukichukua ukiweka hivi, haitusaidii.
Some even gather in small groups waiting to cross the road, but the masks are still on their chins. The fact that the person standing next to them could be their point of contact is of no concern. But some, on realizing that they were under observation, were quickly to pull their masks back on in the correct position.
Maskari pia si wenyewe wanataka si tuvae mask. Askari anataka tuvae mask. Sisi wenyewe na hao wenyewe hawataki kuvaa mask. Wengine wanakuja kukushika lakini hana mask.
It can only be expected that the citizens will take it upon themselves to aid the government bid in flattening the COVID-19 curve of infection. It would need more than a hefty fine, but much more of a collective responsibility. David Kagina, Switch TV.
All right, and to a sad story, health workers across the country are threatening to go on strike. Earlier this morning, Kakamega Hospital health workers said that they have not been paid for the last 2 months, even though the governor, Kakamega County Wycliffe Oparanya, has said that it's not the failure of the county, rather the government has not paid the 2 months that they're supposed to receive from the national government.
Nakaa hivi kutoka mwezi wa 8 sijalipa. Admin mwenyewe atuambia tu vizuri. Tuko tu kwa meeting, hata yeye alikuwa akatuambia atatulipa pesa if they to pay the list 2 months, the list. Alisema if the list. Si hata alisema nini.
Na tuna riski ni maisha yetu. Sasa kama unaweza fanya kazi kama hiyo na ulipwi, utakuwa unakamisha maisha au unatengeneza maisha.
All right, we are about to take a short commercial break, but before we do that, earlier on I asked you, is there enough time to make changes to the BBI report? Is there enough time to make changes to the BBI report? Talk to me via SMS line, that is on 111 444 111. We'll be back with more in a short while. All right, and welcome back to Breaking Today. Earlier on, I asked you, is there enough time to make changes in the BBI report? And this is what you're saying from 111, 444, 111. Jackie from Embo, there is a lot of time. No need to hurry things. There is a lot of time. Waache haraka. You have not said who that is. Now moving on to US, where US President Donald Trump is planning on firing FBI Director Christopher Wray and also intends to replace CIA Director Gina Haspel. This comes a day after he fired the Defense Minister Mark Esper for what he claims was being disloyal to him, few days after Joe Biden was declared the president-elect. Namukana Samuel reports.
The president's fury was apparently struck with Wray after he failed to launch a formal investigation into Hunter Biden, the son of the U.S. president-elect Joe Biden, and his business dealings in Ukraine. Trump was also said to be left furious at his second FBI chief for failing to purge more officials that he believes abused their powers to investigate his 2016 election campaign's alleged ties to Russia. Additionally, Trump was reportedly aggrieved by testimony Wray offered to the Senate Homeland Security Committee last month, in which he stated that the FBI had not seen widespread election fraud, including with mail-in ballots, contrary to Trump's repeated claims. The White House sources said that both Wray and Haspel are almost anonymously despised and distrusted by Trump's inner circle. This comes a day after Trump fired the defense minister, Mark Esper. Attorney General William Barr has authorized U.S. attorneys across the country to pursue substantial allegations of voting irregularities before the 2020 election is certified. According to a memo released on Monday, Barr offered no evidence of fraud stemming from last week's election in the document. The Senate Majority Leader Mark McConnell on Monday took a victory lap on the state floor, even though the balance of power won't be determined until Georgia's January 5th runoff. He also backed Mr. Trump's refusal to concede, saying the president is within his right to look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his options. Till now, Trump has not considered defeat and is planning on taking a legal challenge to stop Biden's victory. The Biden-Harris transition team is also considering pursuing a legal action if the head of the federal agency overseeing the mechanics of a transfer of power doesn't move in the coming days to free up funding and access to agencies. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV, Nairobi.
All right, it's time for business. Good evening and welcome. My name is Clifford Ndubi. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has rebuked the cargo clearance agents for frustrating small business holders. Speaking at the launch of the Kenya Railways Container Freight Station, a government initiative that is aimed to facilitate traders and enhance ease of doing business in the country, the president has said the 100,000 container expenses has been done away with, and the only cost incurred will be taxes.
Going forward, traders will not have to travel to the port of Mombasa to collect their imported goods. This comes after the launch of Kenya Railways container cargo shed that will be based in Nairobi.
Hii shughuli tulianzisha kwa sababu ya kusaidia wananchi na wafanyabiashara wetu wadogo. Vile imesemwa hapa, tulikutana na tukaongea.
The president has come to the defense of the small and medium entrepreneurs by telling off the carrier officials who are frustrating the cargo clearing process.
Hakuna tena wafanyabiashara wadogo watakuwa na msongamano ya kwenda port kuambiwa watafute clearing agent, sijui ambaye amelete container, wamlipe, apotee na pesa zao.
Small economy funded by the small and medium enterprises is a pillar to the Kenya's economy, which has been heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The government has in the past months come up with kits to cushion different sectors from the effects of the virus, and the Bomberline cargo shed is one of the projects to revive the economy. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Joan Kutun.
Thank you, Joan Kutuni. Now, Nakumata liquidation has been moved to February 2021 by the High Court after the administrator requested an extension of the process. In a ruling made on November 5th, 2020, Judge Alfred Mabeya extended Nakumat's administration until liquidation process comes to an end. The Parker Randall administrator cited a lengthy wind-up process that was made worse by COVID-19 related disruptions. In 2019, remnant Nakumat branches sale realized a paltry of 422.5 million against an outstanding debt estimated at 38 billion. All right, and finally, the Kenya Roads Board has allocated 700 million shillings to KWS for maintenance of KWS park roads for financial year 2020-2021, where they will collaborate with KWS on areas of research and technology to ensure that the parks can compete with other world-class facilities. KWS Director General John Migwi Waweru said that the road network is critical ahead of the festive season, hence the inspection is timely.
As you know, park roads are very, very critical asset of our country because they are the facilities that are being used by our tourists and local citizens to really come to the park and enjoy what is happening in the park. And this routine meeting where we do monitoring and evaluation, basically we are trying to find out how is the funds that we have allocated to KWS are being used and being deployed, and also to have an opportunity to engage with KWS leadership on what else we can do together to ensure that the park roads are usable to our tourists and our customers that visit.
And we ourselves are also aggressively marketing towards that. And you will see between now and the festive period, we are actually going to go out more aggressively to actually...
To some land matters now, the National Land Commission, together with the National Environment Authority and Water Resource Management Authority, has embarked on a fact-finding mission over issues that have been raised in the past concerning Gitwamba Farm in Kigomo, which is currently under KTDA management. Residents for a long time have been complaining of poor security along the forest, saying there have been attacks by wild animals to their livestock. They have hence petitioned the Lands Committee of the County Assembly and the National Assembly as they want KTDA to stop growing trees and the land reverted back to the community.
Iligeuzwa bila sisi wakaaji wa Kinyona kujua, ikawa private entity ama ikawa ya mtu binafsi, na huyo ni KTDA ndiye alikuja akapanda miti akageuza vile ilikuwa inatumika na wale watu wa Keri ikawa yao.
Bietu hiyo miti iondolewe na hiyo shamba tubaki naye ili ifanywe kazi ingine.
Mimi niko na obi moja tu ya kuhusu hii shamba. Tulikuwa na watoto wetu wanatoka hapa wanaenda shule Kinyona, na kuna uoga mwingi sana juu kulikuwa na wanyama wengi walikuwa wanakaa hapa, na wanyama hawa ni wabaya juu wanyama wengine wanakula hata buzi, na watoto walikuwa na uoga kutoka hapa kuenda.
That's all we had for you from the business desk. Let's do this tomorrow, same time, same place. Up next is sports.
It's time for sports, and to all of you Manchester United fans, please, Arsenal and Aston Villa, we are not talking about it. Today, with Harambee Stars set to take on Comoros in the AFCON qualifiers doubleheader tomorrow, Stars have been known to have labored over the years for the cup, but their efforts have gone in vain. Rico Ronje takes us back to where Kenya's AFCON qualifiers journey began. Take a look.
Into the penalty box, there's it's been flapping around, there's a chance, it's in the back of net.
This was the situation in 2019 July when Kenya locked horns in the Africa Cup of Nations. The road has not been smooth for the Stars, having encountered a series of not so good results in past competitions. Over the years, Harambee Stars has been known for the common football hire and fire module. A couple of coaches have had their share of the national team, but later on sent packing. In 1972, Football Kenya Federation sought the services of Jonathan Nive, who became player coach as Kenya embarked on their campaign for the Africa Cup of Nations. In 1988, Chris Makoha took over the wheel, after which he was succeeded by Gary Saurier, an Australian hotelier whose coaching credentials are still unclear. The list goes on with all these coaches steering Kenya to the AFCON Cup, but Jacob Ghost Mulee stands out to be the one with the perfect record.
I think he's a good coach na mtu mwenye ako experience.
Or, new information, strategy. So I...
With Kenyans holding mixed reactions on the return of Jacob Mulee as head coach, the ball bounces back to this year's qualifiers where Kenya faces a tough task against Comoros.
A big win for them, but again, it brings a lot of difficulty in the group. So we know that we hold Comoro to be able maybe to check them, not to be able to open the gap at the top.
However, according to Harambee Stars goalkeeper Arnold Origi, the African football is changing day by day, making it difficult to grab an easy win.
There's no easy team nowadays in African football. African football has developed a lot, and so yeah, just like any other group, it's a tough group, and if we're gonna qualify, then you have to be at your best.
With the stage set, all eyes glued, it's only but a matter of action check. According to Harambee Stars veteran head coach Jacob Ghost Mulee, the message is clear. We do not fear Comoros, but we do respect the team. But again, the big question is, will Harambee Stars emerge victorious over Comoros in the tomorrow AFCON double-header qualifier in Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani? Reporting for Switch TV Sports, my name is Cedric Oronje.
The love of sports is all over written on his face. Now, with 2 days left to the awaited Harambee Stars encounter against Comoros for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, Stars forward Ayo Timbe believes that the team has a high chance of qualifying despite being knocked out at the group stage in 2019. Our reporter Ivy Kavai caught up with him and filed the following report.
Ayub Timbe is among the first international players to report to the Harambee Stars camp as they prepare for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Comoros. According to Timbe, participating in AFCON has been a good learning curve in line to the team's growth.
AFCON imekuwa good preparation for these coming games na pia on our next journey. Tournament imekuwa imetujenga. Sisi Kenya, I think we grew up after the AFCON, and sasa tuna look forward to grow even better. Tumekuwa mature a bit na bado tuko na time ya get even more better.
The Speedstars' ultimate dream is to see Harambee Stars qualify for the World Cup. However, he maintains that the team is prepared for a tough back-to-back fixture, having faced Comoros before.
Kila msema amejisike, as we know, kama tulivyosema wametop, kwa hivyo tunajua itakuwa game rahisi, but we have played them before. I think tumewin na tukadraw against them, and I believe team yetu iko strong enough to beat them again. So mimi nasema tu ile design tukijiami poa tutawin this game.
Other international players in camp include goalkeeper Arnold Origi, Ishmael Gonzalez, Cliff Nyakea and John Avire, who plies his football in Egypt. Ivy Kavai, Switch TV Sports.
Matters International, where Tokyo has opened its doors to international competition after hosting its first international gymnastics meet since the coronavirus pandemic. Strict biosecure protocols and sanitation rules were observed as participants remained socially distant at 8,700 capacity gymnasium. The success of the event is a demonstration of how Tokyo 2020 organizers could next year hold an Olympic that is safe for athletes, officials, and fans. All right, and earlier on I asked you, do you think we have enough time to make some amendments in the BBI? Baba has said that there is no time, no amendments. And Kevin Otenga, you are saying, sioni BBI ikidisaidia, my trust kwake imedidimia sana. Doti Oruko, not a trusted leader, he double speaks. Evanson Cairo, you are saying, I think it's best the way it is so that it may fall with a thunder. Allah. Andrew Ngige, you are saying, a master of doublespeak. MC Kimse, you are saying, I highly doubt. I've listened to governors and MCAs hawataki kitu vile iko. Joshua Kemba, you are saying, Trump also believed he'll be USA president for life. That's all we had for you this evening. My name is Frederick Mwitiriri. My sign language interpreter tonight was Teresia Washira. Do have yourself a good night.